My name's Take No. I had a terrible week in the markets, even though I was very, very bullish going into the week. Things didn't quite play out to how I imagined them to. So I just want to do a quick analysis of where I went wrong. But before I do that, I'm going to really quickly show you guys my trading account. So this week I had a terrible week. So I had my withdrawal on the 23rd. And then from the 23rd, I went on tilt on the 24th and on the 25th, 1.5% on the 24th. I lost 2% on the 25th, and then I've been trying to claw myself out of drawdown. And the number one thing you have to remember about trading these prop firm accounts is you do not want to go into drawdown. You do not want to go into drawdown, and it's really annoying that I've gone into drawdown, especially considering my analysis for the week was decent. It wasn't great because I didn't pick the bottom. However, I was bullish going into the week. I'm just going to quickly show you guys with full transparency where I went wrong. So my analysis for last week, I believed that we was trading in a range, and I believed that price was going to begin trending lower. So if you take a look, this is what my analysis for last week was. On Monday, I recorded a video, I believe, or maybe it was on Friday. I recorded a video expecting price to target this level of liquidity down here. Where I went wrong in the markets was I was expecting price to target liquidity down here. However, I completely ignored the liquidity that was being built up here. And the reason why this is frustrating is because me missing out on this level of liquidity that I couldn't spot in the markets, and also not being able to identify this order block right here, prevented me from being in the most optimal place to position. And it's extremely frustrating. I'm just going to show you a different chart. This chart, because on this current US 30 chart that I'm using, price was gapping upwards and downwards, and it kind of threw me off. Not to make any excuses, but if the chart looks like this, it would have been a lot more easier to spot this level. But nevertheless, obviously price does what price does, and unfortunately I wasn't able to capitalize on the markets this week for quite a few reasons, and I'll show you why really quickly. I didn't have this fair value gap here, I didn't have this order block, I didn't notice this level of liquidity right here. So if I had noticed this level of liquidity, I would have targeted price to sweep this level, and then I would have been looking for long trades up into target higher levels of liquidity, which is resting around this area right here. But because I made that mistake, unfortunately I wasn't able to capitalize on it, and then price started to trade higher. And as you can see, we've just been going higher and higher since then. The worst thing about it is, because I had the bias to target lower levels of liquidity that were resting all the way down here, because of this failure to identify this order block and this level of liquidity, I was looking for price to continue going down, and I was trading against my rules. And these things happen. The beautiful thing about trading is, as long as you don't blow up your account, you still have opportunities to make your money back. So hopefully next week I can, do a little better in the markets, take some better high probability trades. And if we take a look at what happened this week, my entry model to position into the markets is usually a sweep of the Asian session lows. And if we take a look, I didn't trade on Monday as I was anticipating my payout on Tuesday. If I did trade on Monday, the Asian session low would have been here. I would have positioned, and this would have been my positioning for the week. We would have had this order block, price would have told me that we was going higher, this would have been the setup, and my first target would have been the high where we was targeting higher levels of liquidity. So this should have been the trade, should have been at 4 rad last week. Nevertheless, since then, we've had such aggressive price movements that price hasn't actually swept the Asian session low. I'm just going to show you guys where the Asian session low is for each day. If we take a look, the Asian session low on Wednesday was here, and we didn't have an opportunity to get into that trade on this day because, as you can see, price traded below it. But as price started to go up, we didn't have the opportunity to get into a position on Wednesday. And then if we look at what happened on Thursday, the Asian session low on Thursday was down here, and price did not come back down to here. So unfortunately last week wasn't a great week for me. I took quite a few losses trying to short the market down, and I've just been trying to recover from it ever since. That being said, I did take a few winning trades today, which I'm just going to show you guys really quickly. And I was over leveraging as well, so there's a lot of bad things I've done in the market this week, and that's quite unfortunate. But I did make a buy trade today where I made $1,000 in profit, another $800 in profit, and then I lost another 1,005. So it's been a bit of a rough week this week. These things happen. As you can see, I've taken 79 trades, which is horrible. I shouldn't be trading this much. It's clear psychological errors on my part. And if we take a look at my equity curve, I don't often go on tilt. So every time we go up, I'd get my payout, and then they'd bring me all the way back down to, the $100,000 level. I'd go back up, get my payout, go back down to 100k. You get the idea that I get into profit, I take out my payout, same thing here, go into profit, take my payout. These things do happen, but as long as you don't, go on tilt and lose the entire account, you still have the opportunity to crawl your way back into profit. I haven't actually missed a payout date so far, and I'm hoping to keep that record. Because I've had quite a few payouts with Funded Next. I think I'm on my 5th payout cycle now. So hopefully I can bring all of this back, around about $20,000 in payouts on this account. So I'm doing pretty well, but I did go until this week, so that's quite unfortunate. But nevertheless, let's take a look at the charts and let's evaluate what's going to have upcoming next week. Price has finally broken out of this range. We was trading in this sideways range for quite some time. Price finally broke out. I was expecting price to go down to here. However, we had an order block, which I completely missed. And we also had liquidity right here, which I completely missed. These things happen. It's not terrible. It's not the end of the world. Still have another opportunity to trade. That being said, our next level of liquidity on the high side is all the way up here. And once we break this level, we should be targeting all-time highs, as we don't have that much to stop us from going to the all-time highs. Our next level of liquidity is all the way up here. We actually don't have any more levels of fair value. We have this level right here, but we're already pretty much through this level. So price should have a clear run to all-time highs. If we take a look at the Nasdaq has already crossed all-time highs in the same way the S&P 500 has already crossed all-time highs. So the Dow Jones has a lot of opportunity to go higher. So it's going to be an interesting run over the next week. But I did go on tilt this week, and it is unfortunate, but these things happen in trading. Professional traders still make mistakes, so that's not really anything to worry about. I'm just going to make a mental note of the errors that I made this week in regards to over trading, going on tilt. I think my maximum loss in a day was 2.5%, which isn't too bad. It's on the high side for me, because usually I lose about maybe 1% on a bad day, but I was taking multiple trades and the market was just going constantly against me while I was trying to short the market down, which was bad for me. And I think that occurred on the Wednesday, where I took the most amount of losses when I was trying to short the market back down. And on Thursday, I thought I had the opportunity to sell, and the market literally just flew against me. Poor trading for me, but these things do happen. So going into next week, I am going to be looking for an opportunity to get back into another buy trade and try and take the market all the way up to all-time highs. And if we do get up there, it should be a nice 4% run from where we currently are. So it should be nice, and I should be able to make back all my losses and get back into profit for next week, and hopefully get a payout on my next payout cycle. And I think that's approaching on the 8th of July. Nevertheless, I hope you found value in this content. I appreciate you for being here. And yeah, my name's Take Note. I'll see you in the next video.